My stepdaughter sent me this recipe. It's cheesy and it's bread. This is cheesy onion soup mix bread. It sounds interesting. We had to try it. I think I got a winner. And we're going to make it right now. Let's pull out some ingredients. We don't need a lot. Flour, of course. Some baking soda. Onion soup mix, couple packets. Some cheddar cheese or marble cheese, because that's what I got. A little bit of baking powder. A little bit of salt. We've got to work with the flour. We also need buttermilk, but I don't have any. So we've got sour cream and milk, and we're going to put that together too. I've got a bowl out. The first thing we got to do is fix our flour up. We need self-rising flour. I'm not paying for that. We can make it at home. So we need 3.5 cups of flour. And to that, we've got a tablespoon and a half of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Then we're just going to mix all that together and voila! Our regular flour has become self-rising flour. To our self-rising flour is a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Then we're just going to combine that in with our flour. Just like that. Next comes our 2 packets of onion soup mix. So there's 1, there's 2. Second one was a little lumpy, so I figured I better break it up. We also need cheese. How much cheese? Well, you know me and cheese. 1 cup ought to do it. I probably put in more than that. And we're going to mix all this together. You can see me breaking up the onion soup mix. Let's put that aside because our last ingredient is buttermilk, which I said I didn't have. So here's what we need to do to make buttermilk. I need 2 cups of it. So the mixture, and I'll put that below, is 3/4 cup of sour cream and 1/4 cup of milk. There's our 2 cups just like that. So it's mostly sour cream. And we just got to carefully mix it all together till it's not too lumpy anymore. I guess it doesn't really matter because it's going in the bread mixture. So we're just going to carefully pour it all in. Well, I don't know about how careful I'm being. Just try to keep it in the bowl. And then of course, because it's so thick, I want to get the rest of it out of the measuring cup. There. Mix, 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 mix. Get it all nice and combined. Now, this dough is going to be sticky. There is no way around it. So I combine it as best I can. And it still needs a little bit of play. So I got my hands in there and just kept folding it over until hopefully by the time we're done we end up with something that kind of resembles a ball of dough. It was getting all over my fingers too. It was driving me nuts. I had to keep stopping to grab it off my fingers. As you can see here. Well, there. We kind of got it so it looks all right. I'll fold it a couple more times and try and get it more ball-like. Okay, that's pretty close. So we're going to cover it up and we're going to let it sit for a couple hours. Hopefully it'll rise a little bit. I'm not expecting a miracle. But here we are 2 hours later. And hopefully you can see it has risen a bit. Not a ton, but a bit. This is definitely going to be a dense loaf. But I knew that going into it. Now, I don't have a loaf pan big enough for this. So I've done this before. I know it's going to spread out. That's okay. If you've got a loaf pan or 2, you can use them too. That's probably the easier way to do it. grease them up and do the same thing I'm doing here, just for the loaves. So we've got our mound of dough. I'm going to try and shape it into kind of a loaf with a dent on the top. And why? Well, it's really simple. More cheese. So by the time I'm done, I probably put close to 2 cups of cheese in here. And listen, it was really good. There we go. This is going to go in the oven now. 350 for 50 to 60 minutes. Keep an eye on it. And when it's done, there's our loaf of cheesy onion soup mix bread. This stuff is smelling good. So I've got a basket to put it in. We're going to chop it all up into pieces. But first, I want to make sure everything's fine. So I'll cut a piece off the end. Give it a try. I think it tastes fantastic. Now, because it's spread out, I've got to chop all the pieces in half, but that's okay because it's a dense loaf of bread. This loaf did not last. It lasted through dinner. We had leftovers. Was gone 2 days later. Well, it's definitely something you want to make. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this in any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.